Here's one I haven't shot in a really long time, far too long if you ask me, and that is the Ruger American in 45 ACP. In fact, I don't think I've shot this pistol since I installed this Talon grip. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I have not shot it for you since I put the Talon grip on it, so we definitely need to rectify that oversight. Yeah, the Take Two video is, for me anyway, just all about a good excuse to get a gun back out to the range that I haven't looked at or shot in a while and enjoy it, and hopefully maybe see something new, say something new, and just let you enjoy it with me. So here we are, enjoying a late October day, 11 yards from that orange dot. Revisiting the Ruger American in 45, full-sized. Very full-sized. And for those of you keeping track, I'm shooting Remington UMC upper middle class ammo. Magazines hold 10 rounds. It comes with 2 of them. The Talon grip does feel good on this gun because it has that really squared off grip in the front, which kind of annoys me. I don't really usually prefer guns that have that squared off grip, but I do like the Ruger American with some reservations. It has a very good sight picture, a good set of steel sights. It doesn't handle the recoil as nicely as a lot of other 45s do, but it's not too bad. But the trigger is tough on the finger. I don't know if that's something I mentioned before or not, but it's something I'm noticing today. One of the other things people have asked me on my other videos, and I have done other videos with the Ruger American, and I'll put those links down below this video. But one of the questions people have asked in the comments is whether the back of this grip, or whether the back of this frame, this ginormous protrusion there, beats my thumb knuckle, and the answer is yes, it does. It already is starting to get a little bit tender from that. It doesn't, maybe it's not a deal breaker for me like I know it was maybe for some people, but yeah, it does beat up the thumb knuckle. It's very wide in the back. There are quite a few things to like about the Ruger American, period. There are quite a few things to like about this particular Ruger American in 45 ACP, but generally speaking, the gun shoots amazing. I mean, you saw how accurate it can be, and that's with me shooting it. So imagine if somebody with some skill got a hold of it. The trigger at first was bugging me this morning, but I think as my hands literally warmed up to the temperature, then it quit bothering me. So it might just be extra sensitive to cold fingers. But, you know, certainly something to keep in mind. If your finger is sensitive to triggers, might be a gun that you want to shoot with gloves on more often than not. But that went away, and then it didn't bother me anymore. The knuckle beater at the back is there. I do feel it while I'm shooting, and I would rather it not be there, but it's not a deal breaker. It's not something that I can't stand to shoot the gun because of. The value of the Ruger is probably the nicest thing about it. I mean, it's got these great Novak sights on it. It is built like a tank. This gun is just, you pick it up and you hold it and look at it, and you can just tell, man, this is a substantial piece of hardware right here. This thing is built, and it's ambidextrous right out of the box. So if your dexterity is ambiguous, then you can use this gun left hand or right hand in both mag release and slide release. So that's good. And the trigger is ambidextrous as well. There's not a whole lot to not like about it, but you know, I don't think it's ever going to compete with, you know, the big name amazing 45 caliber pistols, and that's okay. I think Ruger thinks that that's okay. They know their market, they know their customers, and they almost always please them. So I'm not going to criticize that strategy for a company. And there are a lot of Ruger fans out there. So if you are a Ruger fan, this is a really good one. You probably should want to add to your collection. And if you're not a Ruger fan, you might want to think about becoming one. This gun also fits one of the important criteria to me, and that is the slide stop function as a slide release, because that really is what it is. This little lever does not need to be here to stop the slide. So quit calling it a slide stop and saying it's okay if it doesn't work. It's not okay. It's a slide release, and it needs to work. This one works perfectly fine. Oh look, the sun's coming out. So I walked down there and took a look at that target, and hey, that's not too bad, is it, for first 20 rounds cold on a fairly cold October day. But let's continue on. I'm going to do 10 rounds with Sig Sauer Elite Performance 230 grain ball. Same everything, same distance, same target. You can see the holes. So if you don't see a new hole, that means it went through an old hole. That's how that works. This gun is really nice. And I don't know, it just seems like with a tiny bit of refinement, they could make this an amazing gun. I don't think it's going to, you know, get any government contracts, or it's probably pretty unlikely that we're going to see any police departments carrying it. But as a range gun, and certainly as a potential home defense gun, it is a good one. All right, that was the Sig. Looks like they all found their mark. Try now 10 rounds of Freedom munitions. Haven't shot a lot of Freedom munitions in a while, but this is the new stuff, not remanufactured, from Freedom. Also 230 grain ball. See, the trigger is bothering me less now than it was. And honestly, I think some of that just might have been because my fingers were cold. I'm just more sensitive to it, because it's really not bugging me at all now. The Talon grip feels good. That was a nice addition. But you know, I always think that all right, that was the Freedom Munitions. So, again, testing my old eyes down range. It's only 11 yards, but you know, it's a long way for me. It looks like, with maybe the exception of one, it still might be touching. Looks like we had all good hits. That was 40 rounds of 3 different types of ammo, and they all found their mark. Can't say too many bad things about a handgun if it shoots like that. Hey guys, thanks for watching my take 2 with this Ruger American 45 ACP full-sized pistol. It is a nice one. I like it. There are pros and cons like there are with almost any gun. A couple of things I'm not as crazy about as I could be was, you know, number one, the knuckle beater. It's not a game changer for me, but a lot of you ask about it, and so I got to tell you, yes, it will. And I've got fairly small hands, and it will beat my thumb knuckle pretty good. Depending on how I alter my grip, I can deal with it pretty well, and it again is not a game changer. I like the ambidextrous controls. Even though I'm only right-handed, it is nice to have a gun that is right or left-hander friendly out of the box. That's a good thing. I like the architecture of it. I like the design and just the aesthetics. It's got a, I don't know, it's just got a rugged, industrial kind of look to it, but nicely chiseled, if that all makes any sense to you. The rear serrations are cross-cut, but they're also very, very practical from a grip standpoint. So I like those a whole lot as well. I like the no-back sights. They provide a good sight picture, and they're very durable. I like the way how easily it takes down to strip. I like the feel of the grip for the most part, especially now that I have a Talon on it. It's a little squarer in the front than I typically like. The gun is accurate, very accurate, or at least allows me to shoot it well, put it that way. You know, 10 rounds is pretty standard for 45. It'd be nice if it held 12 or 13, but you're going to pay the price and the size for that. Extended magazines might be nice if somebody wanted to offer that. On the negative side is, you know, just that it doesn't handle the recoil or the 45 quite as nicely as a lot of other guns its size. And for a gun this size, this is a big gun and it's got a little bit of weight to it. You expect it to be a softer shooter than it turns out to be. Again, not a huge deal, but I don't know. And then, oddly, in sort of juxtaposition to that, the ejection is kind of weak. Pretty much every type of ammo I've shot through this, you know, hotter loads and softer loads and all that, you know, ejection is anywhere from smacking me right straight in the forehead to just barely going over my shoulder to landing at my feet. So it can be fairly weak in terms of its ejection, so that could be improved. But all in all, if you like Rugers and you are interested in the American pistol line, you got to have one in 45. So that's it. I try to keep the take twos short, so I'm keeping it short and I'm going to stop it here. Thanks again for watching. Thanks especially to my Patreons who really and truly are keeping this channel going.